Hey, morning, everyone. Like we usually do, go ahead and put where you're from into the chat window so we could know who's joining us here. And I've got you all on mute, but you can unmute yourself if you want to ask anything. All right, we'll go ahead and jump into it. Welcome to the July district meeting. We have made it through 1920. We are still working, on some late requests and stuff, but much less than we did a year ago. Overall, I'd say it was pretty successful. So I'm definitely happy with that. I go through a few of the notes here. Like usual, COVID-19, there's all the links you need. We have officially adopted the changes to the calendar event codes. So we give you the option to tell us if an instructional day is remote learning or partially remote and partially on site. We're also close to adopting some other fields that we've been working with other states on in regards to students' internet access or what is called digital equity. So we're still working through the requirements on that. If we do, I expect we will be adopting it for 2021 here, but it won't be something that's required for districts to submit. But we'll be contacting vendors about that in the near future. Some final notes about the 1920 year end. All the documents and workday stuff is all available at the calendar link here, including the recordings. We just posted those. If you want to go back and look at that or watch the SRS presentation, you can go there. So like I said, we're still working through updating the year-end snapshot for districts who had open tickets or have put in late requests. So we'll be contacting you once the data is brought over into the year-end snapshot so that then you could review the year-end snapshot reports. We're hoping to kind of finish that up by the end of this week. And several of the people are already ready, so we're getting through it. Since a month ago, we did add the updated district admin sign off. Basically, that's working. I may have seen a few tickets, but we're fixing issues with that. So in the near future, we may also go in and follow up with anyone who hasn't signed off, just to let you know. But I think most everyone's familiar with that process now. But if not, you can now go click in and see if your district admin has signed off. Future updates, the stuff we've kind of been holding on now that we're in the summer. GCAT report, CRDC report, we are working on those now. Otherwise, yeah, there'll be probably some fixes we'll be looking at next year as well. But at this point, yeah, it's the main thing we'll be working on with the advisor validation is just getting ready for the next school year. All right, person ID, just a note, 2020, 2021 has now been activated, so you can be sending students to the new school year already. Advisor itself, we are not planning on flipping over until August 1st. Couple of notes about the advisor dashboard. As hopefully everyone saw in the bulletin, the new dashboard went live, kind of a soft launch. This is all covered in the bulletin message too, but you can log into it through this new Nebraska Cloud portal link. It's a newer version of the Nebraska Cloud portal that I believe at one point will become the regular, this will become the version of the cloud portal in the future here. So you go there, you log in using your local login, however your ESU has had that set up. I know there's, I've definitely seen a few tickets about people's access not working correctly, even though it looks like their data is set up correctly. So we are looking at that now. So please be patient on that. Just, yeah, like I said, just a reminder, this is still an initial version. We'll be working on it throughout this year. And adding these other features as well. If you just want to see what the dashboard looks like, you can get into our 2020 data conference website, like I talked about last month, and you can see a video that, you know, go through all the features and the look of the new dashboard. Any questions so far? All pretty basic. Stop me if you have something. All right, 2021 updates. A couple things here. As I've been saying, the staging environment is ready for certification. We've started to post certification results on that website. Well, it's also accessible through our Advisor Resources website, or you can click the link here. Like I said, we are starting certification, but there's still a few things we're looking at adding. Those don't preclude vendors from being certified. We'll just say, yeah, but that they can be certified pending doing this other COVID fields that we're adding as we go. I have kind of confirmed, at least with one vendor, that they've been seeing the descriptor cache failure issue again, where you get errors that then when you republish them, they go away. So we have some of our EdFi consultants looking at that. We had hoped we had that fixed for 2021, but we'll keep looking. Also, a new issue that came up that Infinite Campus in Omaha found. I believe there's an issue with the way the core EdFi tables are set up for discipline actions, where if a student is shared by multiple districts, they can delete each other's discipline actions. So we will be looking at that to see if we can fix it in the code to prevent, you know, one district from deleting the others, or if we may just need to, if we can't fix it in code, we may just need to ask vendors to change how they do that. But I'm hoping we could fix that in code. So I don't believe that would have affected a lot of people, but if you notice that you have missing discipline actions, let us know, put in a ticket, and we can make sure your data gets synced and put into the year-end snapshot correctly. Couple of vendor status updates. Short, Infinite Campus and JMC have both completed their certification. Pending those other new things that are still coming, like I said. A couple notes about PowerSchool. I think everyone who's affected is aware, but a patch went out to correct issue with the attendance data that was being deleted. And I believe we have tickets for everyone who had that, and we're working through it. Also, you may have seen the new issue where we're getting enrollment records that have a 6:30 exit date, and it's missing the 299 exit code. You can ignore that for now. We're working around it. It's not a big deal. So PowerSchool will patch that in an upcoming release. But you don't need to put in a ticket for that. So let's see here. There's a couple of vendor folks on. See Infinite CIC people from Infinite Campus and JMC, Greg. If you guys had anything you wanted to add or discuss, let me know. All right, thanks, Greg. Like I said, campus is, most of you guys have certified, so not much to add at the moment. We are going to push to get all the other vendors certified by the end of July. We're really hoping to hit that, so we will probably be contacting some of the others again in the near future. Anyway, that's all we have. It's the usual short meeting for our July meeting. Our next meeting is scheduled for August 12th. Last chance, does anyone have anything they want to ask or talk about?
The day events that you are adding or want to add for in-person or remote learning, the vendors all have that. And Michelle, you're on the phone. Is that something we need to be looking at or putting on our, or what do we need to do with that, I guess is my question.
Yeah, the vendors have all been notified about that. I believe we actually did test that with Infinite Campus. And I think it's just some additional fields you can map. I don't believe it was a big change in campus, if I'm correct.
So us users don't have to do anything on day events?
I think if you want to mark a day as remote learning, you would still have to go update the date, I believe.
So it defaults to in-school, in-person learning?
It should, depending on, yeah, if you keep your mapping the same as last year.
Yeah, and we will, just like last year, we'll have a meeting to go over any changes that are needed in your setup for this coming school year.
I can say in general, though, yeah, the last year's instructional day code is this year's instructional day on-site code. So we kept that code the same.
So this will handle when they have some students in session every day at the school where they have alternating days. So there's always kids at school and there's always kids remote learning for the day.
Yeah, I mean, you would still use the regular code. I would say if, this isn't meant to track, to signal that you have kids that typically are served at home or things like that. It's really just meant to be used for tracking when students are not using are different from where they would typically be receiving their education. I'll put it
Okay.
It's really just meant to track changes due to COVID.
Okay, thanks.
I think what I could be wrong, but what I thought was being asked was like if a school has half of their students working from home and the other half in session, like in person, are what you're describing codes going to cover reporting something like that?
Well, I mean, we're not getting that specific. We basically just have two new codes. One that says all your students that would usually be on site are now working from home, learning from home. And another code that says it's a mix where some are still on site and some who would be on site are now at home.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we're not getting into exactly how many students here and there do this and that, but although you can kind of get specific if you want, but I doubt anyone will be that accurate with it. Since this is collected on the calendar dates, that means that each calendar you have can technically have different settings here, but I wouldn't expect that. Yeah, question, Marcus. If errors show up after district admin approval, even though none showed prior, do we submit a ticket? Kind of depends. So the errors on the advisor validation website are running off your live data. And so if your live data was changed after June 30th, when we took the snapshot, it doesn't affect the snapshot. Unless you're in the middle of doing unless you have a late request and you're still in the middle of getting your live data set up, then that could be a problem. But if you had errors that showed up before July 1st, then yeah, that most likely was locked into your snapshot. So you may want to then go review, in advisor validation, go review the reports that say end of year locked, which is, the new reporting window that popped up July 1st. That's showing you what your locked data actually contains. So you can try to verify the issue there. But yeah, the error codes will still continue to run off the live data, especially as, we're still going to be using your live data again next year when we are doing the follow-up window. So yeah, if something really bad has happened to your live data, it is possibly something that will need to get fixed before before the fall window here, where we look at your live 1920 data again. So yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's.
Would you repeat that, Max? You're going to look at live 1920 data again?
Yeah, in our follow-up window, which is the same we'll do every fall. We look at a subset of your live 1920 data, and we would use that in your to take your follow-up snapshot. So, and you can look in the calendar document that goes over what it is, but basically, we'll be looking at enrollment data, demographics data, to catch any enrollment changes that have happened, graduation changes that have happened. We look at special ed and Title I data, and we'll also be looking at course data so that we can pick up any students that were served over the summer, or students that have had their courses, updated, who have, may have done makeup courses, or just students who were doing remote learning and you couldn't get their course data until, after
So
now.
Max, even though then state reporting is over for end of year, we should not be turning off the EdFi.
Oh, it's lots of people do turn it off, and that's perfectly fine, but you will need to turn it back on in the fall.
Yeah, but if we
but-
turn it off and we're doing enrollment and batch and stuff, that would cause us a resync, right?
For you, yeah, I guess that, yeah, if you turn it off, when you turn it back on, you'll have a lot of data to sync
So
potentially.
that's a problem for us right now, because essentially we wouldn't want to turn off the Ed5, but we can't. Ron, this has to do with that calendar issue with our school number. We can't have that populated and have Ed5 on. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place.
I'm not sure what issue that is, but if that's something that Infinite Campus might put a fix out before the fall.
Hopefully I can talk to them about that, but I mainly wanted to understand why we shouldn't shut it off.
If you have any data that needs to get reported in the follow-up window that hasn't already been reported now, then that's the only way for you to send it to us.
Okay, thank you.
Technically, not everyone necessarily has data that they would need, but I would bet you guys do.
You would win that bet.
Anything else? Any other questions? All right. Thanks for joining, everyone. Like I said, we will see you August 12th. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Max.